Hello folks, welcome to another battle report. This is the final part of the grudge match games against the Forces of Chaos, and it's a 2,500 point game. It's 8 turns. Basically you get bonus points for the table quarters, they go up to 200 points, and 250 points for killing the opponent's general. So this should be a nice bloody one. And both of us decided to put some things in we've just managed to get hold of, or we don't usually use, which is great, because I think that's what's the best part of it. Once you've played someone 4 times, you then have to try and think of something else. So I bigged up my slan and everything to get another powerful slan, but I actually went for quite a low grade one on this one, as we'll see in a minute. So for this one I got rid of my Sallies, and I've got a second Stegodon. Just managed to get hold of a metal one. I was quite chuffed to manage to find one, so he's in my list for this game. I then have a unit of scouting skinks. There wasn't much space for me to find anyone, so they hid in the middle of the wood, staying 2 inches away from the edges, so they can't be seen. And a wizard there, skink priest, another steg. I've got a level, I think it's like a third generation slan, so you can't miscast, and gets to pick some dice, but doesn't cost me any more victory points when he dies. Then I got another bunch of skinks, this time with javelins. On the far side, more skinks with blowpipes, one more unit of Saurus. They're both bulked up to 24, and a unit of Crockies. And I have 2 Saurus hero characters, one with a great weapon and Venom and the Firefly Frog, and the other one kitted out with the Charm of the Jaguar Warrior and some offensive stuff, so he can just run around and take out any small units. On the right hand side, my opponent has a Hell Cannon. I'm not a big fan of those, they are nasty and do a lot of damage. He's got a Beast Herd, he has a Wargore with a BSB in it, and that gives his unit poison from memory. He then has his, I think it's a Lord level character in with his Knights, which are chosen, and a unit of Hounds. Yeah, not too impressed with that combination. That was quite brutal of him to bring those. The Hell Cannon, I've played with them before, I know they can be really nasty, so that is definitely going to be my #1 target to start the game off. So on the right hand side, he's got a big unit of Harpies. He knows I like to use my skinks, and they are very good at getting rid of my skinks. Another unit of Wolves, the chariot in behind, 2 chariots in behind. Another hero, this time on a Steed of Slanesh, the old school titty snake, which I think is just a great model. And then behind that he's got some Minotaurs. I don't think they've got a command. He's got a standard in it, but I don't think he had the points for a command on that one. And a unit of Chaos Warriors. So on my first turn, I cautiously move up the centre. Basically how I'm looking at this here is the Chaos has split themselves into 2 parts. If I can deal with one half of it, I feel a lot better. So just to give my skinks a bit more hitting power, my 2 Saurus heroes have joined both units of skinks, just so they can ward off some Harpies and that, and give them a bit more of a fight. So they move up as you see here, and of course the first thing I do is my magic phase is cast some magic into that Hell Cannon, because I definitely don't want that thing firing. I know how dangerous it is, and even though it is still a monster, it's toughness 7, which is ridiculous, it still only has 2 or 3 dwarven crew, so if I can knock those off, I feel much better about it. And I believe it's a large target as well, so my howders, giant bows of my howders, will also be firing at it. So on my opponent's first turn, he declares a charge against my skinks. Do you know what? I actually didn't think he was going to make it. 20-inch charge. You'd think I'd be used to it with flies and stuff on the board, but it still seems ridiculously far. But I do hold standard shoot and don't do any damage to him. The only thing I've got going for me there is my Saurus hero, who is strength 7. So he's got plenty of attack, strength 7, and again it's magical attack. So if I can just aim at his demon steed, should be able to kill that off and then sort the guy on top. So initially that was my plan, but I completely forgot about it, and he swung for the hero on top and did a wound to him. I think he has 1 wound left, being a normal hero, and he did do some casualties to me, but with outnumber wounds I'd done to him, I held, probably just cold-blooded again. That's why I had my Saurus there. Leadership 8 cold-blooded is pretty reliable, unlike the skinks, leadership 5 cold-blooded. So at the end of turn 1 we're looking at something like this, and you can just see the Chaos Warriors have carefully moved up in behind. On the top side there, his chariots just, Minotaurs and chariots just moved carefully, and his harpies have swung around to the left hand side. And on this side of the board, he's just moved up with his beastmen and just been cagey with his dogs and chariot, his chaos chosen knights, because my Stegodon there, he doesn't really want to get a good charge against them. And he does fire his hell cannon, but doesn't do any damage on the first round, so I need to get rid of that before it does get a hit on and does dreadful damage. I'm pretty sure it's a blast template weapon with d6 wounds all around that, so yeah, don't want that firing at anything. And then I think it's a panic check after that too. So with magic missiles, I managed to do a fair few wounds to the what's it called, the hell cannon. But then all he had left is one crewman, so I thought I'd just throw a shot in with my giant bow from my unpainted Stegodon. Not only did I hit it, I actually managed to hit the crewman and kill off the last crewman. So all the crewmen are now gone on that thing. So it's quite likely I might actually charge his own men, which is brilliant, because then I don't have to worry about it shooting. So as hopeful, my Saurus warrior with the great weapon managed to do in the my opponent. If you're wondering there with how I made that great weapon as well, it is just a spear with 2 axes on the top, and I think the axes might have come from an Oathmark infantry set, because you don't really have any guys with great weapons in the old 5th edition box sets. I mean, I have to give him a shield as well, because obviously he's got the lump on the hand for the shield, so you can't use it in combat, but it does give him some extra protection against shooting, and I don't mind spending the points on it. So yeah, if you want to make a weapon, spear, top clipped off, and some axe heads. Anyway, so yeah, that's destroyed, and as you can see, I'm just moving up into the woods there with my Javelinmen. In my opponent's turn, he charges harpies into my skinks with Saurus Hero. I just flee. I mean, there's a good chance that I... actually, the sheer amount of attacks, they've got 2 attacks each. Only toughness 2 on the skinks, so they're going to do a lot of wounds, and then it's going to be an auto break, and then run down my my Saurus dude, so there's no point me staying there and fighting that. He does try and redirect into my... No, he doesn't, because he could have charged them anyway. So just a failed charge. So he's going to redirect it into my Croxagores there, but he couldn't do that because he already could have charged them, being a flying and had line of sight to him. So, on the hill, yes, the Hell Cannons need to feed, charge it into his own unit of Gore with the War Gore there. The only downside to this is, even though this is, in my opinion, great, because it's them killing them, so I've got nothing to lose by it. It could have been better. Unfortunately, as I said at the beginning, he's got a War Gore in there with a battle standard that's actually giving them poison. And all these Gores with 2 attacks and poison probably means his toughness 7 isn't going to last very long there. Because I think if he hadn't got poison, I don't think you can't actually hurt toughness 7, because I think Gores are strength 3 off the top of my head, which means only his War Gore would be the one to do any wounds on it on 6s. So yeah, lucky break that he took that poison banner, as his Hell Cannons decided to feed on them. Now at the end of combat, yeah, it was a bit risky, because he'd moved his chosen chaps up behind, and if this thing broke and overrun them, that would have gone straight into the flank of his chosen guys. But at the moment, they're managing to hold. He's obviously lost a few of his Gore. As you see, it seems to be mostly on-Gore left there, so actually I think that thing's done quite well. Just off the top of my head, I think it's got D6 attacks, and I think he rolled quite high for that. And I think he's probably taken a wound or 2. I definitely already caused a wound on it. As I said, he just has to get through some 6s. In fact, that could be exactly why he didn't do anything on the first round, because obviously he would have killed off most of the things to attack it back. So, back in my turn, I move up here with my Javelin, and they hurl some Javelins at the Minotaurs. Manage to kill one off, don't panic them. These guys are in a perfect little spot now, in the woods. Plenty of things to shoot at with poison, get rid of some of the toughness, like things like the chariots and that. I'm also slowing his main big fighty block as well down, so they're going to crawl around the top corner there, giving me more time to try and deal with the other side and ready up my troops to take on whatever survives on this side. So at the end of the turn, we're looking something like that. My Crocs have just moved up just to try and hit whatever's coming around that corner. I have a feeling they're going to be charged by the Harpies, and that fight probably doesn't work out great too well for me. I have found that even though Crocscores can hit hard, that weapon skill 3, so only 50% of the shots hitting, really reduces the amount of oomph these guys have, and yeah, they don't often do as much damage as I hope, because I always end up rolling a couple of ones as well. On the top side, you can see there he's set up a bait and switch with his warhounds to flee or hold the charge of my steg, and counter charge with his unit at the top. And I think that unit's actually, that Chaos Chosen Knights have actually lost a couple. That might be from the Howder itself, actually, or even the little skink there casting some lightning. By the way, my Slan, I think it was just like Law of Fire. He might be doing the Law of Fire, Law of Death trick, because I think at that level you could do it just to get lots of magic missiles. And I'm pretty sure in that big block of Chaos Warriors is actually his Fighting Lord, not in the Chosen. So even better, they're well out of the fight. But as you can see, my lines are setting up to counter that, while my left flank is, being overloaded somewhat. As long as my Crocscores hold out, I should be okay there. So on this side here, you can see the harpies have gone into my Crocscores. Now I'm looking down at my skinks here, and they look like they've actually fled. Which this might be my mistake, because yes, I would have chosen a flee from the charge reaction from those harpies, but then the harpies wouldn't. Oh no, they haven't charged yet. That is a failed charge. It's okay. So I had fled for them, leaving the harpies directly in front of my Crocs. Now I'm a bit happy with that. With the charge off, I should do some wounds and stop the large amount of attacks coming back at them. In the woods, the Minotaurs have also charged my other unit, which also fled. No, they'll be slowed down in there, will be absolutely fine. Again, I'm Leadership 8 and my Slan's nearby, so they're probably Leadership 9 and have a good chance to rally and start peppering them again. So they're pretty much out of the game. So my next turn, I should say, I'd be able to charge my Crocscores in and dish them up, and then just suffer the counter charge of those chariots. So as you can see on the left hand side, my skinks actually didn't flee that far, because I was actually quite close to them and I was tempted to stay, but again, difficult wooded terrain slows them down by half for the charge, so I didn't have to roll too far to actually be well out of charge range. Still, a bit closer than I would have liked, that's for sure. That's how it finishes off, as you can see there. This was an damn it moment. I'd really hoped that the Hell Cannon would have held these guys up for a little while. As you see, I've turned most of my flank now facing towards the other threats, not too worried about these guys. So they are definitely going to be the centre of a magic barrage to try and get rid of them and save my troops at the top, because I'm sure these guys want to run into the woods and chase off my skink and skirmishers. So yeah, but as I said, he had poison on him. He still had quite a few attacks. I don't think the initiative of the Hell Cannon is too high, so he managed to get a few sixes through, and that tough to 7 didn't mean a lot then. And saying that, I mean, it's only got 4 wounds, so it's held him up, and he's killed his own war machine. So I can't really grumble, can I? So, as you see here, my turn, I've turned to face my opponent on this flank. I charged him with a stake. I know he's got a counter charge set up, but he's actually quite close, and I felt I wouldn't have to roll too high to get out of the charge arc. Plus I got terror, and that I'll probably scare off the dogs anyway, which they did not. At the top of the screen, both my skirmishing units have rallied, and my Crocscores going against the harpies. Again, I should be relatively easy be able to mop them up. Biggest problem, I have 2 chariots coming in after that. I'm not too worried about the actual chariots. If I can survive their impact hits, my Crocs are strength 7, so yeah, I should be able to damage them and destroy them quite quick. Unfortunately, it's D6 plus 1 impact hits on each at high strength, and I think the Chaos Warriors in the back were halberds as well, so it's just a lot of strength. And still at the very top hand corner, there is a couple of Chaos Hounds that are just sitting over there just to hold that table quarter and get him some 200 victory points. That's a good spend for 60 points. So at the end of my turn, I've just done a few missile damage to the Gauls, or attempted to. Down the bottom you can see my Stegodon has completely overrun the Chaos Warhounds, chased them off, but I have now revealed a nice flank attack for my opponent there. There's not much I can do about that. You can always hope he can fail his terror check, but you never know. My skinks are just hiding behind my main lines at the moment, waiting to push up and keeping some distance between them and the Beastmen with their skirmish capabilities. Also, I'm setting up keeping my Saurus hero there with a great weapon, because if those chariots do go into my lines, he should be able to sort them out very easily, being strength 7. But as you can see, I don't think there's actual way in at the moment. There's still a full line of Chaos Harpies all in the way there. Oh, is it Harpies or Furies? Sorry, Chaos Furies. I think I've been calling them Harpies. So yeah, they didn't actually do that much damage to me, which is quite surprising, because these are actually quite strong. 2 attacks, strength 4. They might even be weapon skill 4. So I've only might have taken 2 wounds tops, so I've got a little red dice there next to my crocs, and yeah, little damage done to them. So that is how it's looking. So in my opponent's phase, he charges down at the bottom, as you can see there, into my steg. His beastmen do definitely move up and threaten my poor little skink that's hiding in the woods. He's going to be legging it very soon. His minotaurs move up in through the woods, getting ready to get a charge coming through. And his Chaos Warriors, I mean, they're stuck to a 4-inch charge. They couldn't really see the point in declaring a charge against my skinks, so they end up facing the wrong direction. In the centre there, I'm probably just going to have to ignore those gores and hope my Stegodon, even though he's got poison attacks, can deal with them as they come out the woods. And I've also got some skinks there ready to give some distance and sort themselves out. So overall, at the end of the turn here, it's looking like that. He's just showing the Chaos Charge here. And after the combat, it looks somewhat like this. I'm pretty sure this guy had the Berserk Sword, does D3 wounds, so with knowledge of that, I directed all my attacks against his hero, and actually got a wound through with my steg. I believe I lost, but I stood there. Actually, I might have even won wound each, flank number, no musician. Could well been a draw. So there you go. The skinks will just pile in. May as well add wounds to it, because he's just as tough and has just got as good as arm save as the rest of the lads there. And if I get rid of him, I get rid of that big threat to damaging my steg. So at the end of the turn, we're looking something like that. And at the top, you see that combat is ongoing at the moment. It seems a bit of a pillow fight. And that's going to be really annoying due to the fact that obviously, if I defeated him this turn, I can then set up for the chariots. But if I now defeat him in the next turn, those chariots are coming in, and there's very little I can do about it. So I believe this was after some magic. Managed to break these guys and get them to flee. Yeah, he's got 4 left. I think he had just enough to be able to rally these guys. Yeah, I think it was combined with a non-line of sight spell from my Slan and a lightning bolt from my skink. Got rid of those and secured up that flank for me. So down here with the Stegodon, my Stegodon actually managed to kill off the hero, which is bloody marvellous. But yep, still a flank. And I couldn't have won it again. As a draw, wouldn't it, for flank and a wound, because it looks like I've taken nothing in return. So yep, he's done well. He managed to kill off the last dwarf off the Hell Cannon, and he's managed to kill off a hero. So he's done his job proudly. Yeah, so over here is exactly what I thought might happen in my turn. I've managed to kill off the rest of the Furies. I lost one of my guys in the meantime, and now I've got 2 chariots barreling into them. 2d6 plus 2, and strength 5 wounds plus 4 halberd attacks at strength 5. Yes, there's so many attacks. All I need to do is get one to strike back. If I can get 2 hits and 2 wounds on, obviously they can instant kill them, but it all relies on the fact if I can strike back. So at the end of the turn, we're looking something like that. So as you can see, in the middle of the ground, I've turned to face the other the unit there. Yeah, I've managed to kill off the what's it called, Harpies. And as you can see, if you're on the top side there, there's actually one of my Saurus heroes. He's going to transfer out the Warhounds to stop them claiming the objectives. In behind my Saurus warriors, there's my great weapon wielding Saurus hero. He's there ready to counter any charging chariots. And my skinks are just move up into the woods to throw some more javelins at the Minotaurs. I don't seem to do any more damage as of yet. So I apologise for the bit of the jump, but we, yeah, as you say, they did exactly what I thought they were going to do, and they absolutely smashed through the croc scores. I don't think I even had any wounds left at the end of it. Overran, and idiot that I am, put my skinks way too close behind with a 3d6 overrun. One of the chariots actually went straight into my skinks, but the other one is left, I think, in charge range of my Source Hero, which at least that gives me something, I suppose. So it's been a game for a little while now, and I think I've skipped a turn here. I don't think I took enough photos, but basically the chariots came in and smashed up my crocs, overran, hit my skinks, and the following combat, I believe, squished the skinks. So yeah, one chariot is off, one chariot is where you can see it. And I'm really not sure how I've done that. I'm not sure if I actually played that overrun and did the combat in the same one, because that would have been a terrible mistake. But I'm not entirely sure on that. It might just be the case I didn't do much in my turn, or I just moved my heroes up to be able to countercharge shortly. That's how it stands. Yeah, I think I'm just actually missing a turn here, because what might have actually caused those... Nope. No, I think I might have just messed up and done that chariot combat a bit early, which is a bit of a shame because I had a chance for a counterattack there. But this is how things are looking at the end of my turn. I've moved up now. He's moved up pretty much everything within charge range, so it's time for me to make my decisions. The Beastman down the bottom side did rally, and the combat still goes on between the Chaos Knight, the Chaos Chosen, and my Stegodon. So my favourite little chap here, the chap with the totem of the Jaguar Warrior, makes him gives him an 18-inch move, charges across here and takes on these dogs. This combat doesn't go quite as well as I thought. I think I pretty much fluff up the charge and struggle to win combats against these guys, which is very, very embarrassing. But yep, he tries to mop these guys up. So in the centre, I just have a go at the Minotaurs. As you see, they actually have taken some wounds from my javelins. I'm pretty sure my block of 24 Saurus should be able to deal with them quite quickly and drive them off. I've got, what, 3 ranks number to start with, and I'll be striking first. And I'm not sure if I have to do 2 or 1 wounds, but yeah, pretty much think it's over there. Other than that, on the other side, I'm not in a rush to go into combat with the Chaos Warriors with his Lordy Dude in it. Quite happy to blast with magic and shoot with everything that I've got. This is how we're looking, and you can also see I've managed to charge in my other Source Hero against the chariot. He should make short work of that. He's got the Blessing of Sotek for the extra +1 attack on the turn they charge, so he's going to, I think, for 5 attacks, strength 7, and I only need 1 to wound to smash at the chariot, because chariot's an addition, which I believe is the same for 7th as well. Basically, hit with a strength 7 attack, cause a wound, and you destroy it. So I go in here with the Blessing of Sotek, so I think he's got it as well. So he's got 5 attacks. Other than that, I think he's just a hand weapon shield, but he's strength 5. 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, and I did 1 wound. He outnumbers me. That is it. I don't have enough unit strength to count as a rear attack or anything, so we actually end up with a draw. That's not very impressive with my, 130 point character versus, 60 point of... Well, no, probably less than that, 6 points each, are they? 5 of them? 30 points of hounds. Yeah, very embarrassing. Yeah, over here, strength 7 and chariots don't really mix, and this dude soon sorts him out. And again, in the centre was a bit of an embarrassment. I went in and it looks like I've done 1 wound. Yeah, so you've got, what have you got, 4 wide, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 attacking back, plus my champion 5. That's 11 attacks, and I did 1 wound on the Minotaurs with no armour. But anyway, he obviously did a couple of wounds to me. I still managed to win. He managed to hold his generals just at the top there, and yeah, I took the advantage to that round and sent a few more Saurus in to get a few more attacks. I obviously need them. On opponent's phase, he wasn't overly confident whether he can get a charge on or on my guides, so he stood there. My guides finished off the Minotaurs, and we just blast with magic as much as we can, throw what we can into the chaps, and things looking as you see here. He's got a wound on his hero. I can't remember how he did that. I don't know if I've got a spell that could do that. or he miscast. I can imagine he has got magical powers, knowing him. Yeah, not sure on that one. I have to think. What? Oh yes, no. There is a spell from Death, isn't it? Steal Soul. That you actually aim for someone. I think this is the first time I was actually close enough to use it. So yeah, during the opponent's phase, this is how we are looking. Yeah, Beastmen moved back up to harass the rear of my lines. The Chaos Chosen, they actually beat up my Stegodon in the end, ran it down, and then have reformed face here. And everything else is as you can see. Yeah, I managed to finish these guys off. I think we might have forgotten these and had to go back to him. Finish these guys off and chase him off the board, and he can come back at the beginning of my next turn. His Chariot came on, and I managed to charge it with my other hero with a great weapon and finish that one off. So my turn, I took my slant out just so I didn't lose my general. I had a feeling these Chaos dudes will do enough damage to me that I could actually lose combat, even though I'm starting with quite high, especially with a hero in it. So just to save any risk, my slant decides to waddle over to the side there. He bravely carried by his troops while blasting magic at the what are they called? The Beastmen, and they hope to break them and get rid of them. And you can see in my opponent's turn, the Chaos Warriors do charge in. Just a close-up of the scrap in the middle. Yeah, I actually think this was a bit of a pillow fight and we didn't do much damage to each other. So my turn, we're looking like that. I turn right, wizard around and start trying to blast some magic at these Gore. And I do believe I actually managed to kill one of them, which actually left his War Gore. Or I actually might have killed his War Gore off, so it might just been his Battle Standard Bearer, because obviously at this point now the hits are randomised. There's not enough models there for him to hide in. I put my Stegodon at the top there to try and block off his incoming cavalry, but actually it was kind of a stupid place where I put them and allowed him space to where he can actually get into the fight and just wheel round me. Oh, because I actually killed one off, that's right, so he can at least get some more charges in, but I do charge in the flank just to try and help this fight out. And this is it now. Everything else has been mopped up. On the top there you can see my Jaguar Sauruscar Vetch coming back, and my Skinks are just holding out in table quarters just to capture them. And this is how the battle ends. So yeah, as you can see there, I managed to kill off, I actually shot the Chosen Chaos Knight and allowed the other one space to actually go through then. The combats I couldn't reach with anything else. As you can see, my slant actually ends up in combat with the BSB for the Beastman. And this is not his battle standard. I'm pretty sure this is just a regular Beastman because of how the randomization went out. And he actually managed to get some wounds on, which was a bit terrifying. Just at the end of the game and to fail a leadership check there would have been horrifying. I watched my general right, but as that is the end. And that was a glorious victory there for the Lizardmen. And at the end of the day, I think my points were high enough to actually get the big award for the difference in battle point scores. So my opponent is definitely wanting a rematch to try again, and I'm definitely going to be trying another army to see what else I can do with another one. At the moment I'm actually painting up my Khemri, because I thought I might take them to Daventry, but there's seems to be quite a few people wanting to take them, so I might hold back on that. And I'm also painting up my Empire, so it might be an Empire battle you'll see next, or Dogs of War. I mean, you know, you never know. I'm still waiting on War Games Atlantic Conquistadors for them though. I was kind of hoping they'll be out by now. I have got a campaign running at the moment. I haven't taken any battle report pictures simply because I don't have the miniatures I was hoping to have by now for them, and I don't want to have too many unpainted miniatures to have in my battle reports, because I know it does bug some people. So until the next one, take care everybody, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.